How can you not love Golden Kamuy when we have dialogue that's this hilarious and absurd? This show never fails to impress me, and this is easily the funniest episode for me. Every week I feel like I have something really great to compliment about Season 3 of Golden Kamuy, but this episode, this circus charade, was amazing. It was non-stop comedy gold, and very rarely did they slow it down to be kind of serious or teach us something. The first minute and a half of the episode is pretty tame, but even then, they go through like 5 different styles of Golden Kamuy, but then the end of the episode's quite serious before having a Sirpa look at a pile of shit, and that's the least of her concerns because if she would just look at a damn paper, she would know that Sugimoto is still alive and well, but that's our girl for you. Anyone who says that they don't like Golden Kamuy is just lying to themselves, probably ashamed of some of the dialogue that pops up in the show, afraid of who could be looking at them as they read lines, especially from this woman who was easily the best character of this episode. The amount of time she had me rolling, it was a lot. This episode was peak comedy gold. It has the return of meme faces, which honestly Season 3 has been lacking, at least enough that you can say, oh, this episode was filled with them. Golden Kamuy has made so many great memes, and that's a great point for this show because it's not all about being serious, it's not all about being we're treasure hunting, we got this emotional story. It has fun. That's why 17-ish minutes of this episode was literally circus ridiculousness, and it was amazing. You have Gendro, who is just so into this whole performance. He is just a little dancer girl, and he became peak anime girl, and he was having the time of his life, and at other points he was crying thinking that he was just causing troubles for the dancing girls, and I'm like, the things this man is saying with a straight face, and then you would have Ogata just, I think there was probably 6 or maybe a bit more times where you would have this overly anime girl phase on Gendro, and you would just see him in the corner just with the most stone cold deadpan stare, and that is what always set me off. I was already laughing at Gendro. I thought it was comedic gold, just making him basically have like the anime blush, the anime eyes. He was in heaven doing what he was doing, and then you would have Ogata just be stone cold, and that would always make me laugh. It was so great to have an episode where you think, okay, if we do this, if we really pull off a show, this will make a name, the immortal Sugimoto will be seen everywhere, and Sirpa will know that Sugimoto's alive and well. Not a bad plan, but of course it goes haywire. You have so many characters either completely against this or so in awe of this. You have Ladies Man here, who he's a little too into Captain Surumi, but at the end of the day, he's traveling with the company and he's really into wooing the crowd, the blowing of the kiss, and just how Sugimoto and him just have this hate-love relationship going on, and the sabotage in this show. How can you go from having fake suicide where it's like, oh, you put water in because the blade's dull and has ink, it'll make it look like real blood. Oh, so he thought he tried to sabotage me by putting a picture of my beloved on the rope, so I'm gonna make him kill himself with a real sword. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Only in Golden Kamuy can you go that far in escalation. A prank which would have made him fall, maybe broke a leg, so we're gonna escalate it to the point of I'm gonna make him stab himself. And I'm like, okay, maybe he thought it was only gonna be the arm, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't put it past him being like, I hope the bastard commits to this because how dare you take a photo of my beloved. I'm just like, oh my god, this show is ridiculous. The number of times though, this girl was just saying, these hands only good with playing with your dick, and just the number of times she belittled characters. There is so many out of context points in this episode that you can just show someone and they're probably gonna laugh, they're probably going to be confused, and they're probably gonna ask you, what the hell anime is this, because I want to watch it. And then you're gonna have to try to explain to them that Golden Kamuy is more than just tense shenanigans where they're trying to be a circus and fake things for crowd appeal and things like that. This was the least serious episode of Season 3, but it was the funniest and most entertaining if you're looking at it for pure comedic value. I love the comedy in Golden Kamuy. I honestly think you could have an entire season of just funny moments and that would work. I think it'd be great to have a spin-off where instead of just having treasure hunting, it's just like the best spoofs, either new and old alike, just combining into a 12-episode season. That shit would have me rolling. It would be the funniest anime of whatever season it's airing in my honest opinion. It's just great to see the absurdity and just see how everything you think you know about Golden Kamuy, it's there, but it's escalated to the point that you just kind of put your head in your hand and you're like, why am I watching this? Of course, because it's hilarious and comedy gold. I mentioned it very briefly, but the first minute and a half, give or take, before the opening kicks in, which I have to say the opening is still amazing for this show, is actually really impressive if you really break it down. It starts off with hunting, which I have to compliment the fact that we have yet to see CGI bear or CGI deer or anything like that. They look really well done, hand-drawn. I think they did great on the fur. Not something that's going to get overly complimented, but I mean, if we think back to season 1 and how much people shit-talk the animals because they did use a lot of 3D for them and they just didn't blend in with the environments well, I think it's important to compliment it. We go from hunting to funny moments learning about meat, and then we have a Sirpa just kind of, talking shit, saying it smells like armpit. And then you get cultural history lessons with the whole beads that the men wear for hunting, and when they become a man, they take them off. And then you go back to the whole treasure hunting thing, because she mentions how, like, oh, this kind of gives me a memory, and you can see the other two being like, I hope so, because we really need this information in your head. They bounce around like 4 different styles in the span of a minute and a half, and nothing feels jarring. I have yet to see an anime that can do that with that short a time frame. There's plenty of great anime that I love that blend multiple genres and styles. I've never seen an anime other than Golden Kamuy that can go from like 3 to 6 genre styles in a span of a couple of minutes and not make me say, that doesn't make sense, you're really just kind of throwing the viewer for a loop. But a simple scene that starts off with hunting, ends with treasure, and they do so much absurdity, so much serious, and so much cultural history lessons that it doesn't feel distracting, and that's pretty brilliant. The end of the episode, I really did like. I mean, it didn't really feel like they succeeded in the plan, but then again, Sirpa isn't stupid. She does have her childlike moments. I mean, you don't stare at a piece of shit and get wowed by that unless you are a little simple at times. But at the end of the day, if she did see the newspaper, she would be like, oh, he is alive, even if the name isn't spelled correctly. But then again, the other two that she's with may not want to know that, so I think she may have a hard time realizing that he is alive. At the end of the day, though, this episode did at least give them a starting point, an objective, some information. The whole Russian part of the episode I love, like they were just literally trying to kill the master of the circus. And then Sugimoto, luckily, because he had a real blade, was able to kill them all, and the crowd bought it as a big act, which I guess if your main hook of the show is that the person's going to kill himself, yet he keeps having these shows, I guess you kind of expect it's all an act, but goddamn did they buy into that act. Arms getting cut off, decapitation, murder. It was pretty brilliant, I have to say. I just found this episode to be insanely entertaining. It was comedic gold, meme faces as far as the eye can see, and they honestly blended so many different genre styles despite it mostly being a comedy-focused episode in such a short amount of time that really just once again impresses me and says, like, this is why Golden Kamuy deserves so much more praise than it gets in the West. And hopefully over time this will gain even more of a following, so it won't just be a cult following. More people will be like, oh, this deserved to be way bigger than it ever was when it aired. And, like some of the great movies back in the day, over time they really gain a following that's just like, holy shit, people back when it aired really missed out. Luckily, like I said, Japan loves this show, so that's probably why we're gonna see a season 4 eventually at this point, so I just hope it gets popular. This show is just fun. This was easily the funnest episode to watch, and can't wait to see where they're gonna take it next week. But let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What was your favorite moment in line in this episode? Personally, for me, the whole dick in your hands moment was hilarious, but honestly, our boy talking about how he was a failure to the dancing girls was a very close second. But whatever you're feeling, of course, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like to show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, peace, take care, and have a good one.